Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy United People's TV. It's Friday the 13th. Unlucky for some. I was born on the 13th, although it was a Monday. So it doesn't really count for me. And we've got a busy show lined up for you today. We're going to be starting with the Here We Go for Diego Leon. We got confirmation from Fabrizio Romano this morning. Run through the details on that, how much we're paying. And of course, he won't be joining until the summer because he's not 18. We're also going to focus on the game last night. The 2-1 win over Viktoria Plzen. The pros and the cons. Plenty of cons, but also a good response from United in the last 30 minutes after the subs changed the game. We'll also then take a look towards City at the weekend. It's going to be a busy day. It's Friday. We're going to get the map up. You're going to fire in your comments and your questions. The podcast went out this morning. Don't say I don't treat you well. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Let's see who's here from the mod and the member gang and get straight into this show because it's going to be jam-packed. Alex, good morning to you. Carl, you're there as well. And I saw you start the show. T, you're there as well. And Josh, how you doing, buddy? Let's see who's here. We've got JC from the member gang. Garlic Bread Man. I'm Potato. The whole food army is out. And I'm Potato gifting a couple of memberships here. Just dishing out Dauphinoise. What's the best potato? We've already had this conversation about a million times about best potatoes. It's got to be crisps. Don't care. It's crisps. No one else. It's either crisps or chips. Anybody else suggest anything else? You're wrong. You're wrong. I do love hash browns. I just love potatoes. Happy Friday indeed, Michael. Good morning to you, Charles. We've got Joyvin. No pain, no gain. Jeez. And we've got Chris Church. Good morning to all of you. I think I've said good morning about 9 times there. Do I think good morning? Goody morning. Sam, why do I look so red? I thought I looked pale. You just can't win. For some reason, the white balance went out on my camera, so I had to tweak it this morning. So the colours might be slightly off, but hopefully I'll get that fixed for the weekend. Right, let's start with the news that we were waiting for, and it's exciting news, right? We've got the first signing of the Ruben Amorim era. Now, you could technically say if you wanted to. Well, actually, Sam, Emmanuel Zero, who was the 15-year-old signed to the academy is the first signing. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm going to consider Diego Leon the first signing. And this has happened very quickly, swiftly and quietly. Quickly and swiftly, same thing. These are the sorts of... It's what I want to see more of from United. The first time that we had a conversation about Diego Leon was less than 48 hours ago, really. And all of a sudden, here we are with the Here We Go from Fabrizio. The deal has been agreed. It's going to be $4 million as an initial fee, plus $1 million in easy add-ons, and then $3.5 million based on how well he does. That's the deal. So overall, the most expensive price for him will be $8.5 million. And that's if he's successful at Manchester United. You will see that he is going to be arriving in July 2025, and you're going to be asking, Sam, why is that the case? That is simply put because he is currently 17. No Premier League club, and I don't know if this is the case across all of Europe, and it may well be, but I know that no Premier League club can bring a player over until they are 18 now. I always forget his name. I don't know why. Was it the Swedish player? The Spurs signed. I always forget. I even watched him play last night for Spurs. For some reason, every time I think about him, his name just disappears out of my head. But Spurs couldn't sign him until he was 18. And the same is going on here. A little bit more information from Fabrizio saying United will try to plan Diego Leon's trip to Manchester in order to visit Carrington and Old Trafford ahead of that formal move in July. Robbie is saying, do we know the length of the contract? No, we don't, but I don't particularly think we need to. And remember, I suppose you can actually. You can sign your first professional contract at Manchester United when you turn 17. So, yeah. And he's saying it gives us a good year to continue to assess and guide him. I think that's a very fair point, and I think that's correct as well. These sorts of deals, honestly, I hope we get used to seeing them. I can't stress enough how fundamental I see these deals to United genuinely building a top quality squad over the next 5 to 6 years. Because even if you get, let's say, I'd ask you in the comments here, right? Out of 10, what would you say would be a good hit rate for signing players who are 17 for, reasonable fees in the grand scheme of transfers these days? Something rising to $8.5 million isn't a price that's going to hamper you or stop you signing other players. Bergvall, that's his name. Bergvall. By the way, he came on 2 trials to Manchester United before he went to Spurs. Someone's saying down straight into the first team. I don't know whether he'll go straight into the first team. I'll be completely honest. I don't. But he may well do. And as Ant said there, that's one of the benefits that we're going to have of him arriving in July 2025. We're going to get to watch, and I'll tune in. I'm sure you would as well. We'll get to watch some of his performances for Cerro Porteño when the Paraguayan League kick-starts again, which I think is in February. Let me see what you're saying about the hit rate. In terms of these signings turning into successes, what would you say is a good hit rate? 5 out of 10 says John. 2 to 3 out of 10 says Carl. 7, 8 says Priam. Eric says 6. 1 in 5 would be good. Honestly, I think if United could go for a 1 in 3. So say we were to sign 10 players like this, and 3 of them ended up being gems. Like, we've unearthed a top level player and we've paid around about $8 million for him. Incredible. And there's the kicker. The kicker is that if, hypothetically, it doesn't work out with Diego Leon, we will be able to still sell him for a profit. And our cash flow won't be negatively affected. I think if we can go for a 1 in 3 on these types of signings, that would be amazing. Looking forward to it, man. And I hope there's more of them. So we've got Sekou Kone. There's 1. You've got Diego Leon. There's 2. I don't think Chido Urban Martin comes into this conversation because that's a domestic signing. I personally would look at them in 2 distinct categories. Those who are poached sometimes from the best academies in England, like Chido Urban Martin. Others who are kind of, I wouldn't say plucked from obscurity, but Emmanuel Zero being signed from a grassroots academy is a little bit different to signing a record-breaking goal scorer from Arsenal's under-18s. But I would consider domestic younger signings different to foreign signings. So we've got Diego Leon being 1 and Sekou Kone being number 2. And if there's another one that comes in, and then if one out of those 3 players establishes themselves as a top-level Manchester United player, that, in my opinion, is a success. And all credit to Jason Wilcox for this. Jason Wilcox has led on this whole transfer. Been doing it quietly. Been doing it amid Dan Ashworth leaving as well. I think it kind of goes to show that Dan Ashworth wasn't really too involved. And I'm not really sure I ever expected him to be. Because I looked at Dan Ashworth as the leader of the operation, the man greasing the wheels for everybody else. To coin, wasn't verbatim Dan Ashworth's phrase, but he said he'd like to be in control of the wheel, like the cog, making sure everybody's got what they need. And Jason Wilcox was out there doing the deal and getting it done. And it's been done within 48 hours. I think the price is fine. I don't think anybody's going to be annoyed about it. And I look forward to watching his development in Paraguay for the second half of this season. And then we will get to see him in pre-season. And who knows, maybe we're going to see Diego Leon as an 18-year-old come into Manchester United's first team squad next season. Or maybe United will decide to ease him in slowly and he'll start with the under-21s. We'll find out. But that's the first signing secured. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Yes, that's a good point there. I do think Chris Vavell is part of this. And I think he's going to... I don't think this is a one-off. Personally, I'd love to see United make 2 to 3 of these signings per year. So we've got Sekou Kone, who came in. We've got Diego Leon, who came in. So hopefully in the next 6 months, or maybe in the build-up to before April or May, I hope United agree another deal like this with somebody else. And the fact that it's from South America really excites me too. You already know I did that video on South America. I just found it very confusing that United weren't attacking that market. And the first signing that we made under Ruben Amorim is from the South American market. United are not watching my videos, but at least United are now thinking and having the ability to execute it in the right areas. I think so anyway. We are going to talk about yesterday quite a lot. I just wanted to start here with the Diego Leon story. I don't think that we're going to be busy during the January transfer window. I think if we get anyone, it's going to be a loan. Keeney saying, even if 1 out of 10 youngsters becomes a superstar with us, it's already worth it. Yeah, honestly. But if United can somehow get a 1 in 3 hit rate with these, I think it would be fantastic. And if it doesn't work out, because of the age and of the signings and the relatively low prices that we will pay, we won't lose out. We'll be able to regain our money. Okay? So that's an exciting signing. Now, before I do dive into everything to do with the game last night, I want to quickly mention this. I want to shout out to gambling.com who are working with United. Well, not directly with United People's TV on this, but I'm not sure if you've seen these. So there's some billboards that have been going up around Manchester. Okay? And that was basically, if you use the QR code on the billboard itself and you cast a vote, it will update live on the billboards, right? That was it yesterday morning. 100,000 and 107,000 votes for United. I can't even see what City have got. 3,000. It's about right. And then, looking today, where on earth did they find 200,000 City fans? I do not know. But right, the link is in the comments. It's the pinned comment. Can you click on that link and it will take you to this? And all you got to do is tick that box and vote red. Job done. I mean, I've already voted, so I can't do it. But go over there. You don't need to enter any data. But if you do want to enter some data, you can leave your name and you can be entered into a draw to win some hospitality tickets. But just go and cast a vote. Because it really looks like City have buying. Well, City haven't just bought the league, have they? Anyway, I'm going to be speaking about the Manchester derby a little bit later. I swear to God, have you ever met a City fan? Let alone 200,000 of them. Where have they found those? That's hilarious. Right, let's move on. Yeah, it's 131. Eric, you're saying, where's the link? I will drop the link in the description now for you. Should be there already. It should be the pinned comment. Right. But if you can't see it, that should be it there. All right? Take it easy. Take it easy. Why did I just sign off to that? Don't know. Anyway. Right. Let's talk about the game last night. What's all your top level opinions of the game? Because let's be honest. That first 60 minutes was bad. First 60 minutes is awful. You're all saying down there the vote's only open to the UK. It makes those votes even more funny. 200,000 City fans in the UK. Okie dokie. Anyway, let's speak about Viktoria Plzen. That first 60 minutes were awful. It was like football purgatory. Now, the top line from that game, and big up to you, Jay. I can see you gifting 20 memberships down there. One for each of United titles. I can't wait until we've got 21. Yes, please. But the top level positive thing from last night, United won the game. Good. United are now in the top 8 in the Europa League. 3 wins on the spin. POK under Rude, Bodo Glimt, and now Viktoria Plzen under Amorim. 9 points from the last 3 games. All of a sudden, United are into the top 8. And our last 2 games are not easy, by the way. We face Rangers, who are 8th, and Steaua Bucharest, who are 10th. Rangers, thankfully, are at home because, I swear to God, that this set of players going into Ibrox right now would crap their wee panties. They would. I would not back United to win at Ibrox. But United at home against Rangers, depends if they want to trash Manchester again. I'm not holding grudges. But that's the top line positive from last night, right? We won the game. Now, let's talk about what actually happened in the game. Gary, I can see you gifting 10 memberships as well down there. It's Friday vibes, man. Everyone's getting vibey. Triple vibes. Big up to you, dude. But Ruben didn't really hold back in his post-match comments, and nor should he. United, sure, were improving in some details. Sure, were we aggressive when we lost the ball? I mean, to a certain degree, in the first 60 minutes, I don't particularly think we were. We need time to work in possession. That's one way to put it. Another way to put it, Ruben, is we have a lot to improve, but we won. And I think being realistic, the main takeaway. Like, you won, but my word, did you make that hard for yourselves? Now, to be fair to Viktoria Plzen, they made it hard for United. They set up in a deep 5-4-1. They were very aggressive, especially to the second balls. And Amorim called on United to be better in the duels for the second balls, the second crosses. I don't think we were good enough yesterday. They were. And the goal that we gave them, that Onana gave them, it was Onana and De Ligt were both involved in the problems, but Onana should have realised that De Ligt was on the back foot, and he didn't. I'll speak about that a little bit later. But United have got so much that they need to improve. And we're just seeing that on a game-by-game basis. And I said this to you in my match preview. I said, this is the first time that Ruben Amorim has not only said that we need a result, but he wants to see a performance. Which, in my opinion, I've said it again. Can't go a whole video without saying that. But I honestly think that shows that Ruben feels, okay, these players have had enough time to kind of understand the basics of my system now. Now I'm sort of expecting them to start putting in the performances. We didn't see it for the first 60 minutes. And so, before Amorim took over, I said, I honestly feel this squad is better than we've seen this season. And I still think that this United squad overall is better, is capable of playing better football than we're still currently seeing. But my word, do so many of these players have questionable futures at the club? And that's a really fair way to put it. I can speak about individuals a little bit later. But just their inability to play at the speed. And it's the speed. Like, if you go and watch United in their pomp or go and watch City when they were untouchable, it's the way they move the ball around the pitch. You move it so fast that it's very hard for a team to stay in shape, and when they try and press it down, you can't get near them. It's the speed of the it's just the speed. How quickly you pass the ball from a teammate to another is how confident you are in your own system, in your own ability. If you play it slower, less chance of something going wrong. Whereas if you're dead cert that it's going to go there, you will fizz that pass. It makes it so much harder to defend against. Onana's little errors will cost us. I'll speak about that a little bit later. Jonathan, yeah, bloody, I was annoyed about this massively. Sloppy as hell on the counters late on. At least 2 of those should have been goals. You're not going to get 100% conversion. But I think that was partly why you saw a little bit of this from Ahmad and Hojlund after the game. Robert, you're saying we need to rid ourselves of players with stanky attitudes. I'm 100% sure that a select few players drag everyone down mentally. January could be big. I'm not expecting January to be big, Robert, if I'm being totally honest. I don't think that we're going to sell anyone of note. United might be able to agree a loan deal for a player to leave, maybe, and a player to come in. I don't think it's going to be much bigger than that. But there were plenty of negatives from yesterday, and there were some positives, all right? I think, in my opinion, damn it, I've done it again. I need to put like a jar down there. I don't know why I keep saying in my opinion. I think it's crept in because of the podcast. I forgot what I was going to say. You ever just had that little brain fart? Anyway, I'll speak about this now. Ahmad and Hojlund at the end of the game, probably having a little word with each other about those 3 failed counterattacks. And although there were negatives to the game last night, there were positives, and I think this was one of them. That fight that they showed, and this is what Amorim said about just a little altercation between Ahmad and Hojlund. It wasn't really a bust-up. If it was a Daily Mail, it would be a bust-up. But he wants to see more of it.
Yes, for me it's perfect. We need to feel something. In this moment we need to feel something. If we need to fight each other, it's like a family. For me it's a very, very good sign. We need to feel something, and that is important.
It shows that the players care.
After that is clear. When you don't care, you don't do nothing. When you care, you fight with your brother, with your mother, with your father. So for me, me too. For me, it's a very good sign.
Amorim wants that sibling rivalry. A little scrap down there at the dinner table. I think it is good to see. And if I was probably going to pull the biggest positive out of the game yesterday, I would say it was the response from United. And the thing that changed the game was those subs. John, you're saying that Hojlund's pissed he didn't get his hat-trick. I don't think it will be as individual and as selfish as that. But just all 3 of those chances were utterly wasted. And you want to talk about United not being ruthless. Boy, you're not going to get a better example of it than those 3 golden chances. 3 of it. It was a 3-on-1 at one point. And you're not going to get like I think that was the chance that went to Hojlund on his left foot, and it went straight to the goalkeeper. But I don't know who it was, but somebody a couple of shows ago, and it might have been you, were saying that back in the day, when United were actually good, the players themselves kept each other accountable on the pitch. They didn't have to wait to go into the dressing room to get an absolute shakedown from Fergie because they were all shit scared of it. So they would keep each other accountable on the pitch. And that's kind of what I'm looking at this as. Ahmad and Hojlund both saying to each other, what were you doing, man? Should have scored that. Keeping each other accountable, not in the way like where it comes across as an argument, but like if the players focus on maintaining A, their own standards, but B, each other's standards, that's sort of, I don't know, fighting is the wrong way to describe it. It's just keeping each other accountable. It's very important because it doesn't matter how much a manager tries to keep players accountable and tries to get them to, have a little scrap here or there. The players themselves are going to be the ones that drive that. And that's why that sort of fight until the end, I thought was a positive to take out of that game yesterday. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Alex, I can see you gifted 5 memberships as well, dude. Happy Friday, man. Ben, you're saying, love the videos and streams. Great community. Thank you for being part of it, Ben, and to everyone else. What was he saying down there? I thought I'll answer this once. I think I answered it earlier as well this week. And I'm only going to do this one more time. Sam, there have been rumours that Garnacho has been leaking the starting 11s. And I swear to God, people, right? If you genuinely have got the energy to try and get involved in more drama and conspiracy theories and rumours and whispers, I don't care what the evidence trail is. It's like fuck me, man. We've just got rid of our sporting director. We were crap for 60 minutes. There's enough drama at the actual football club without actively looking for more drama. Like I don't care. I do not care. If there is proof and the proof comes out, then I will speak about it. But if you really think I'm going to do any sort of videos or deep comments on like Desperate Housewives level of soap opera and drama, just go and enjoy that yourself. There's way too much going on at my football club for me to focus on stuff like that. And it's a shame that people really are that interested in it. Let United, as someone said down there, let United handle it. And United will handle it. Let's just focus on the actual drama on the pitch. And going back to it, the thing that changed the game yesterday was Amorim and the subs. And I'll speak about Mason Mount. I thought Anthony was a positive sub to come down in the right wing-back position. I think he linked up quite well. He did link up well directly with Ahmad for the first goal, but I think overall he did well. Mason Mount made a difference. Hojlund, of course, made the difference. Ugarte was Ugarte in the middle. I don't think Garnacho did particularly much. But overall, the subs really had an impact. And I think Mason Mount played really well when he came on. I think Mason Mount has played okay. And now, of course, when you're a £60 million player, okay doesn't cut it. And that's the truth. And that's not really Mason Mount's fault. That's just a reality of the price tag. But Mason Mount coming on for Xerxes. Xerxes had really good moments yesterday and then just really awful moments as well. All wrapped up into a performance. Very hit and miss season so far from Xerxes. And I think it's been a bit of a hit and miss from Mount. Yeah, he definitely should have scored yesterday. I thought that was going to be... Well, I'm glad United got the winner from that point. But I was worried that chance that Mason Mount had was going to be the chance that we had, but we missed. Wouldn't be surprised to see Mount in the starting 11 against City. I suppose it all depends on fitness. Richie saying Mount is class. I hope he can stay fit. I think Amorim really likes him, and you can understand why. But any manager who's ever worked with Mason Mount loves him. It's not coincidence. He's clearly a very good professional. Graphs, turns up on time, does what the manager asks of them, and is a proper workhorse. What United fans need to see is the output. But from a perspective of being more aggressive in the final third, Mount brought a lot of energy to that team yesterday. So I think it was a good performance from him. And, of course, Ahmad again. Now, I know that Hojlund, rightfully, by the way, he scored 2 goals. Hojlund got man of the match. Ahmad is just the best player on form in this team, isn't he? In different positions. Right wing back, he was the best right wing back. Right attacking midfielder, he was the best right attacking midfielder. Yesterday, United were at their most dangerous when Ahmad and Bruno got closer to the opposition's goal. And it is not rocket science to figure out why. They are by some margin the best creative players that we have in this team. And if you want to create chances, you need your creative players closer to the ball. It's why I don't like Bruno Fernandes playing in a deep position. Sure, he can do that. Yeah, Mazraoui, I think, is a fair shout as well. Ahmad and Mazraoui have been the best players so far this season. But I think that's a good poll there. It's a good question. Let's put this down here. Right? Where would you start Ahmad on Sunday? Ahmad on Sunday. Do you start him as right wing back or right attacking midfielder? Because my reaction last night, straight away, was, well, it's surely an absolute certainty that you start Ahmad as the right attacking midfielder. And then you see Mason Mount's performance on the bench and you say, well, maybe it could be Mount and Bruno as those two aggressive and, well, Bruno certainly as a creative attacking midfielder. But we looked so much more dangerous when we had Bruno and Ahmad closer to the opposition's goal. And Hojlund benefited directly from it. Ahmad isn't a wing-back and long-term won't be. I think I probably agree with the fact that I don't think I see in there long-term because I would expect United to sign a right wing-back. It wouldn't surprise me to see us going after Quenda, but that would be a massive outlay on what is a 17-year-old player. If we were to go after Quenda from Sporting, who of course only just broke into the first team under Amorim, was a converted right winger, and from an athletic perspective, geez, he ticks so many boxes. But the angles of having that left-footed right wing back, and that's why Anthony looked good in that role, and how it worked with Ahmad. Let's see what you're saying in the poll down here. Damn it. Everyone's on the fence. Well, not on the fence. It's just in the middle. 55% of you are saying right wing back and 45% of you are saying right attacking midfielder. So it's pretty much 50-50. And it's never going to happen. And I don't even know why people would suggest it. Right? Let's have a conversation about this. You're down there in the comments saying, shoot me, but I'm saying start Bruno on the bench. I just can't. I can't see any logic from United. Is it the idea that United will probably be more creative in the last 35 minutes of the games when City are tired? So that's when you want Bruno coming on? I don't really know. But I will happily die on the Bruno hill, man. You do not take this man out of your team. You get him in the right position in your team and you keep him there. The fact that Bruno's been playing central midfield, that's not Bruno's position. Right? He's there because Amorim is asking him to try and create a little bit from deeper, and for the fact that right now, Mainu is not 100% fit. Otherwise, Mainu's going to be starting there. Ugarte was left out of the starting 11. Bruno it frustrates me so much how I think it's just the expectation from United fans that if Bruno Fernandes doesn't get a goal and or an assist every single game, then he's a shocker. But in a team which has lacked so much creativity for so long, Bruno is basically the last player you take out of the team. Last night showed why. There's so many examples over the last 4 years as to why. Bruno is our guy. Play him as an attacking midfielder. Shore up that midfield behind him. Will need, once we get one or two big, I'm talking like just athletic monsters in midfield to cover and eat all the ground up behind Bruno, and he can just be an attacking midfielder. It's going to be a problem for everybody else. Ugarte, he was rested against Plzen. He's going to be fit and ready to play against City. And maybe that's why he was rotated and rested. It's just, there is so much evidence that Bruno is our best creative player. And when you take him away from the opposition's goal and you move him further and deeper, that's when you take away probably Bruno's best part of his game. He's too much of a whiner. Blah, 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 blah. That's partly cultural, by the way. It's kind of built into Portuguese football. It's built into South American football as well. It's seen as a bit of an art form. To be as good at buying free kicks and stuff like that from referees is seen as a skill. That's not part of the English game, but it certainly is out there. It was nice to see more passing into Rasmus last night. Let's speak about Rasmus, right? He was. I'm not sure if on my life I was sitting there watching the game, and Bruno was standing over that free kick, and I was just pointing at Hojlund, going, "Man, there is so much space there. If Bruno could just boom," and he just passed it straight to him. And it was not an easy take for Hojlund at all. He took it really well. I think he took it on his right foot, and it was like a touch and turn. Touch on his right foot, pushed it out with his left, and then dragged it across the keeper. It was a really, really good finish. First goal was all about right place, right time. Second goal was all down to Hojlund's, and that's, who was it, Everton, where he scored that goal, I think one goal of the month. Like, touched it with his, I think, the ball into him from Mazraoui, touched it in the air with his left foot, didn't let it touch the ground, and side-footed it between two players. Hojlund's a very good finisher, which is the most important thing. We have somebody who is very, very clinical. I don't know what his conversion rate is now, but it's by far and away the best at the club. It's not even close. I'm not worried. United made a very solid signing in Rasmus Hojlund. And I do think he's only still getting started. People trying to compare. People have actually been comparing Darwin Núñez to Rasmus Hojlund. It's just night and day. Darwin Núñez is an absolute pest, but he's like a 1 in 10 striker. Hojlund right now is looking like a 1 in 3, which is what your attacker should be. I think so anyway. A 1 in 3 striker makes such a difference to this team. And against City, we may well do, given how City are playing right now, but typically when you go to the Etihad in the last few years, you do not expect to get a lot of chances. So you need to be clinical. And that's what Hojlund was. Cedric, you're saying he's an instinctive finisher. He's just really improving, right? Saying it's getting better and better under Ruben Amorim. I think he's getting better and better. The patterns will get better and better, of course. And I kind of agree with Owen Hargreaves. I think he was speaking on TNT Sports after the game when he was saying it's kind of reaching the point now where Amorim's going to have to start thinking about partnerships. You know, when Gary Neville's been throwing it in and trying to question how many changes Amorim is making, he's made it abundantly clear that it's because of match fitness and match sharpness, but also I need to learn about this squad. How else am I supposed to learn about them unless they play them in games of football? So partly it's been an experiment so far, hence why we've won. We've got, is it 6 games under Amorim now? 3 wins, 2 draws and a defeat? Am I right on that one? I think I might be. But Hojlund, he's bang on. Kinth, you're down there saying that his conversion rate is 28.6%. Just over 1 in 4. I wouldn't say Hojlund's proving people wrong, but Hojlund is doing what I think I called it last season, and it just didn't happen because we were awful. I said, what I would love to see is Hojlund become more of a box presence. And that's how the Amorim system works. Gyökeres was the point of the arrow. All right? You've got a focal point in attack. I don't want to see Hojlund. And it's kind of a good comparison there. More of a Rude than a Rooney. Wayne Rooney was incredible. He was involved in everything. He was such a quality footballer that he could be involved in the build-up, turn and face, and then go and finish a chance as well. That's why Rooney dropped deeper and then he ended up being more like Scholes, pinging 40, 50-yard passes. That was Rooney. Rooney's game was way more complete than Hojlund's is. But that's fine. You don't always have complete footballers. You might get the occasional one. They're rarities. They're unicorns. Hojlund, if he can just be a dead-ass clinical striker, that's what we need you for, man. We'll get everyone else to do the dirty work. We'll get everyone else to drop deeper. We'll get everyone else to create opportunities if you can just be there in the box to kick that ball in that net. Simple. But it's the hardest thing to do in football. Really happy with Hojlund. I've never, ever questioned his positioning. I think that's always been quite natural to him. I've always been frustrated that the team hasn't been passing it to him more. And Jonathan, yeah, look, his hold-up play needs to improve. His link-up play needs to improve. Sure, yeah, great. But focus on your goal scoring. And the others around him, focus on creating. Everything else will then come and develop naturally. Really happy with Hojlund, and I think Amorim will be really happy with him as well. He's got himself a striker. Doesn't mean that we won't sign a striker in the summer, and I think we will. Xerxes, I'm concerned about, very concerned about. I know he can play in a back three system because he played it at Bologna. But Xerxes it's still just, the touches just seem to fling away from his foot sometimes. And then all of it, like you saw that touch in like the second half, the ball came over his top from a goal kick and then it's just boop. It was one of those like Berbatov touches where the ball just stops dead on his foot and then he just turns and passes. I'm like, well, you have got a first touch. Xerxes needs a haircut, too much drag. Maybe that's what it is. She needs to go skinhead. I'm concerned about Xerxes. I'm concerned about Garnacho. I'm concerned about Rashford. I'm not concerned about Hojlund. For an attack which is lackluster, I'm not concerned about Rasmus Hojlund. I never have been concerned about Rasmus Hojlund. I think United made a top-class signing, and I think he will only continue to grow in importance for this club. Just keep providing him with opportunities. Now, unfortunately, on the flip side of that is quite a few of these United players, and I've just spoken about Xerxes there. You could speak about Garnacho too. Garnacho was dropped out the starting 11 yesterday, and Marcus Rashford got the opportunity to start. And it's just, Rashford looks lost. He plays lost. You know how you see Ahmad and Hojlund having a little bit of verbals towards the end of the game? That's kind of like the complete opposite end of the spectrum to the intensity that we saw from Rashford. And speaking after the game, because I was worried that this was a tactical instruction, but after the game, Amorim questioned why Ahmad was dropping so deep because he said he wanted him beyond the defensive line. Which is why I was so confused about how Rashford was playing. You know how I'm saying the best of Bruno, get him closer to the opposition goal. Don't get him dropping deep. You won't get the best of Bruno. If you're going to get the best of Rashford in any way, shape or form, you don't have him with his back to the opposition goal, dropping deep to try and link up play. You have Rashford running in behind. You have him touch tight to the touchline. And then that's how you get the best out of Rashford. However, that's not how Amorim wants his two inside forwards to play. They cut inside. Rashford, for him to be able to pull himself out of the shadows at Manchester United from this point will take so much individual strength and will. And I'm not sure Rashford wants it enough to fight through that to get that, because unfortunately for Rashford, he's now in a position with the United fan base where if Rashford was to put in a performance where say we play against City and Rashford scores the winner, United fans will be like, well, there you go. That's what he should be doing every single week. They won't really praise him. They will say, well, there you go. Where's that been? And then in the next game, if it's not there, then he'll be slated and slammed. I think he's in a position with a lot of United fans where it would be like, damned if you do, damned if you don't for Marcus Rashford. And I think once you've reached a point like that is when I think it makes sense to move on. And I think that's what's going to happen this summer. I really don't think that 40 million is a fair price. I really don't. But I don't know how that goes. We'll find out in the summer. But right now, Rashford looks far closer to walking out of United. Well, not walking out of United. For Manchester United to move him on than Rashford to reignite his United career. Let me see. Let me read a few of the comments out. And by the way, people, right? If you think I'm going to revel in the fact that I've seen an academy player come through and he's now feigning at United, I just don't think you understand me. I'm not going to revel. I'm not going to rub my hands together. It's a fucking shame. I swear he's in the top 10 goal scorers at United now. He's got form at the Etihad. He does. I wouldn't put him in the starting 11 though. For sure, I wouldn't put him in the starting 11. Kevin's saying, I think Rashford's a lost soul. A move might be the best thing for him. I feel sorry for him with all the tabloid-driven agenda. His heart might still be United. It's just, as it stands, it feels like it's past the point of no return. Whether that remains the case, well, we'll see. And I want to quickly cover 2 more points before we whip up the map. Whip up? Yeah, why not? Whip up the map. And we speak about the derby. Onana in these last couple of games. Jeez. People are going to conveniently forget how good Onana's been so far this season because of what's happened in these games. The recency bias when it comes to a lot of analysis is crazy. But boy, what is Onana doing? Against Forest, he just sat down. I don't know how that shot went in from Morgan Gibbs-White. And I think he could have done more for the third goal as well. And this situation here, I compared it to De Gea when he passed to Maguire away in Seville. You know, when Maguire had 3 players around him, maybe Maguire wasn't aware enough that he had those players around him. I don't quite know. But at least that pass from De Gea actually reached Maguire. That pass from Onana went straight to the bloody opposition. I think both are at fault. Wrong way to describe it. I think both are partly responsible here, right? Because Onana in this situation should be able to see that De Ligt's weight. Look at his stance. He's not going to be able to spring forward to get that. He's not on the front foot. He's in like a static neutral position. He's not really, from a body balance perspective, in the right position to receive the ball. Whereas the opposition, he's already springing forward. He's predicting that pass. So De Ligt, I don't think, showed for the ball enough. I agree with that. But no, man. You should be able to see that. You should be able to see that. And it was a weird one. Onana, less of that. Right? Less of that. Although, if I'm being totally honest, those are the sorts of mistakes I expected from Onana more towards the beginning. Rather than the shot stopping, I was expecting him to make errors in build-up. Right? We'll find out. It's just, I just found it really strange. It was, if he just opened his eyes, that's what I mean, decision-making. You need these players to be able to sort of scrap with each other and keep each other accountable on the pitch. And you also need these players to be able to make the right decisions in real time. Not looking over saying, is that the right thing to do? No. And the wrong thing to do in that situation was to pass it to a man who was on his back foot, who was being pressed because he was never going to get the ball. Right? Really odd decision. overall, Amorim will be happy with the result, but very pissed off with the performance. Because as far as he's concerned, the performances have to start coming. Right. I'm going to wrap that poll up here and leave a poll to end the show. Last 5 minutes, let's chat about it, because I won't have a live show with you ahead of the derby other than this one. What's your prediction for Sunday? Jonathan, I'm not blaming De Ligt for the goal, but I'm saying De Ligt as the central centre-back, whenever the goalkeeper is on the ball, should always be in the position to receive the ball. That's his job, because the two wide centre-backs will always split, and it's the role of that central centre-back to make himself available. However, he was surrounded by 3 players, so Onana shouldn't have given it to him. That's what I mean. It's not about like pointing the fingers at both, but I think both could have done better. City win, draw, or United win. I still think that the Arsenal game was the hardest game so far, and I still think that will be the case after Sunday. However, what an opportunity this game is. That's what I'm going to describe this derby as on Sunday. An opportunity for United to change the momentum. Now, we've kind of already started doing that. We beat them in the FA Cup final last season. The Community Shield at the start of the season, I thought we outplayed them, then we lost on penalties. But the last 2 games we played City, in technically both competitive games, we've more than competed against them. And now with City having won only 1 game in their last 10, I think, they've lost 7. They are in the pits right now. Confidence is shot. However, their record against us in the Premier League at the Etihad in recent years has been dog. So I'll go down and look at some of your predictions there. It will be such a momentum builder. That's what I'm going to call this game. It's not going to be a season definer. I don't even think it's going to be the hardest game that Amorim's played so far. But it will be such a momentum builder. And we haven't gone into a game at the Etihad for a long time without mainly thinking, I hope we don't get pumped. Which is just the sad reality of United going to the Etihad over the last few years. Please don't get pumped. And a lot of time we get pumped. But you have to take advantage of where City are right now. Because a win for City right now will be welcome relief. But it won't really change the discourse that's happening around that club. If United win on Sunday, it will be like an adrenaline shot to the start for Amorim. I swear to God, if I see any individual mistakes in this game, oh man. If we lose, then we lose. We go to Anfield, I think on the 5th of Jan. Right. Let's have a quick look. And I'm going to go back to this, by the way. How many votes are on this now? Come on, man. 206,000 City fans. Having a laugh. Anyway, make sure you vote on that. Maradona, you're saying you're not optimistic about United. Hojlund to show up Haaland, that'd be nice. 3-2 Hojlund says, and I'm going to look at the poll, and 54% of you think United win. Man, if only the results followed these poll results, we win everything. We'd be invincible every season. 28% of you think a draw, and 18% of you are saying City win. I'll give you my prediction in the starting 11 video that's going to be going out tomorrow. All right, in the last minute of the show today, I told you it was a busy one. You can vote multiple times. I voted there a few times. Just make sure you go in there. Just keep adding your votes in, all right? And if you're not in the UK, I didn't realise you couldn't vote. But, yeah, we'll find out. Another charge coming for City. There's no way they got 200,000 fans. Are you kidding me? Let me know where you're watching from. Both the city and the country, and I'll get a few of you added onto the map, all right? We've got Pune? Don't know. India. Chelmsford in Essex, Montreal in Canada, Abidjan in Ivory Coast, Örebro County in Sweden, Helsinki in Finland, all around the world. I love the community here. And by the way, there's going to be some forms for you to fill out quite soon because we're going to be building up, hopefully, towards the first ever United People's TV live show. It won't be a show. What I want to do is do it in a pub. Watch the game together, maybe do a little podcast before, rather than any sort of like show feel. Be like just basically renting out a pub and having a good time. What else are you saying down here in the comments? So look, got Peter watching from Stirling in Bornish, Scotland. I do like the fact that Amorim said his favourite film was Braveheart. I bloody love Braveheart. I seriously do. Or Terminator 2. One of those two is definitely my best film. We've got Cannon watching from Melbourne. Not that Melbourne. In Florida. I didn't know there was a Melbourne in Florida. Melbourne. Spell it correctly, Sam. Melbourne in Flowrider. You know, it took me ages to realise that Flowrider's from Florida, and that's just his name. I thought it was genius. And the last one, we've got Kinth watching from Pumpkin Booties? Pumpkin Booties. Pumpkin Buttes in Wyoming. I'm going to call it Red Butts. All right? Well, Pumpkin Butts. It's definitely not. Man, the amount of names that I annihilate here in my pronunciation, I know. You're just going to have to deal with it. All right? But thank you all, as always. Oh, actually, look. Someone sent a super chat as well. Don't miss super chat. Mongo, you're saying we need to win at all costs. Players need to try everything against City to prove we were all wrong, especially Marcus. Jeez, I hope so. And look at that, man. Wow, you're watching from Ulaanbaatar. Ulaanbaatar. In Mongolia. Now, that's a cool one. I'd love to go to Mongolia. As much as I love the United People's TV and what we're doing here, I'm looking forward at some point in my life to being able to go travelling again. Because I miss travelling. Anyway, enough of the pumpkin booties. Thank you all for another fantastic week. It was a good result against Viktoria Plzen. It was awful for the first 60. Diego Leon, welcome to Manchester United. All right. Manchester is indeed red, and I hope it's red on Monday when I'm back here live. I'll have 5 things we learned about the game from yesterday. That's going to come out at lunchtime. Tomorrow's going to be the City 11. Sunday's going to be the match reaction. On Monday, I'll be back here. Take it easy, everyone. Have a cracking weekend.